Now with a really good mic, you just have to be careful of like the noise that you're making because we can hear your beard rustle
I
and
think
shit.
I think it'll be okay.
Let me step in front of right? So, welcome to the Zen in the Car podcast, where we're going to do your Angel Ray Metatron Terra reading Blu-ray thing with Nick Liberator, David DePuma, and me, Daniel Lewis Crumpton. Hey guys, right? We're all metaphysical here. So, for full disclosure for everybody, we actually did try to record this episode prior, but the news in Warner Robins just keeps getting juicier and juicier, so we all decided to postpone it and kind of come back to the story. So I'm really excited about this one, right? Because we all had the chance to interview Madam Mayor Larhonda Patrick here in Warner Robins, and do you guys feel the same way as I do? Like, even though we're talking about Warner Robins politics, and Dave, you're up in Jersey, and me and Nick are down here in Georgia, that it's like a lot of people who listen to us may not be in Warner Robins, so they'll tune this one out. But it's like I don't feel that they should do that because I think that what we're doing here in Warner Robins is, kind of like a blueprint for how possibly other cities and communities can get their government back on track, right? I mean,
Microcosm. Yeah, it's a microcosm for the whole country. You enact these things on the local level, and it's a lot more effective than trying to pay attention to this whole national bullshit. You can completely change your bubble, if you act on the local level.
do you see that like from your perspective up north, Dave? Is that what you see, like people like me and Nick doing down here?
There was a Daniel sighting. Why was he in the back room anyway?
I don't know. You know how you do.
And who did kill Colonel Mustard with the candlestick in the study? Where the fuck did he go now? I hop off the phone because I see he's back and he fucking takes off again.
Yeah, that's why.
This short little beast.
He had to go play with the stove.
All the ones saying that we shouldn't record tonight? They're not really subliminal. They're like all over the fucking place and they're slapping us in the face.
They're pretty bliminal.
Subliminal? That's right. What is the opposite of subliminal? Bliminal. Okay. So we'll pick up from where Dave was talking. So anyway.
Where Dave was mumbling.
Dave was mumbling.
Yes, you have to change it at the lower level. You can't go into Washington, D.C. and change everything. Yeah. It's not going to trickle out. You got to do the spider web and close it in on a federal 10-mile radius.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it helps to realize that, local government is more important than the federal government because that is restricted to the 10-mile square of Washington, D.C. and applies to a corporation that has nothing to do with me or any American citizen. Maybe a United States citizen, but not an American like us. So anyway, as we had previously talked about when we were doing the test run, Nick and I could not attend the local city council meeting in Warner Robins because we were up in Atlanta. covering a huge cannabis event that we were invited to, which we'll get to later. It's a cool event. Met a lot of cool people. Right, a lot of cool people. The best people. The head words. The best words. So we weren't here for this. However, we knew after the honeymoon phase of Madam Mayor Larhonda Patrick that she would actually have to start doing things. So I wanted to discuss with you two gentlemen the news stories that have come out since she swore in. Ready? And I tried to. The last time I did this, I did my radio announcer voice and went so fast that not even I could understand me. And then, like, me and Nick were talking about it later, Dave, and I was like, "But Dave said that he understood every single word." And Nick goes, "Yeah, that's because he's a Yankee." So let's poke in and look at 13 WMAZ, this article that came across my desk, and see what's actually going on here after the honeymoon phase. Are you guys ready?
Show.
Yep.
Beep, 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 beep. Warner Robins mayor suspends city administrator in dispute over contract. Mayor Larhonda Patrick says David Corbin signed and executed a $347,000 contract without approval from her council members. The article goes on to say, Warner Robins Georgia editor's note, video in this story is coverage, blah, blah, blah. We'll probably put the video in the Christ box below if people want it, but how will we know? Because this isn't live. Anyway, Warner Robins mayor suspended their city administrator for allegedly signing a $347,000 contract without approval, according to a February 1st letter obtained by 13 WMAZ. Mayor Larhonda Patrick told David Corbin that he was suspended for, quote, unauthorized execution of a contract, end quote, with a business named governmentjobs.com. According to minutes from the council's December 6 meeting, Corbin was authorized to negotiate a contract to outsource the city's payroll office. The mayor and council asked him to bring a proposed contract back to them for approval. Instead, Patrick writes, Corbin delivered a signed contract to them on January 18th. According to Legal Resources Online, a contract is legally binding once it's signed and executed. Patrick wrote that Corbin was immediately suspended without pay for 2 weeks. She sent the following statement to 13 WMAZ. Quote, I can confirm that David Corbin, the current city administrator for the city of Warner Robins, has been suspended without pay for a period of 2 weeks effective Tuesday, February 1st, 2022. I have consistently pledged accountability and transparency in my administration, and it starts at the top. As the Chief Executive Officer, CEO of Warner Robins, I take my responsibility seriously. We have ordinances, policies, and procedures in place which direct our procurement activities, and all employees, including myself, are expected and are obligated to follow these ordinances. As a matter of ethics, I cannot. It's a politician who uses the word ethics in context. It's kind of cool. I cannot permit one person's disregard for these rules under any circumstances. That act alone, I'm trying to hold commentary, but you guys can see I want to. That act alone will create precedents for all others to expect the same type of treatment for this strictly unauthorized action. This is an echo of the federal level where I have consistently said if you give a stupid president executive order to just sign every other day, then it becomes a precedent. So that I will add that commentary. So this is a, like you said, microcosm of the macrocosm. It's like she gets it. Okay. Sorry. Any actions to the contrary, absent proper approval, is absolutely prohibited. Regardless of whether this unauthorized action was intentional or a mere mistake, it does not negate the language within the laws of our city, and I stand firm on my decision to suspend the city administrator within the sole authority of my position. The end quote. Let's see. The change in city payroll management came out of city problems with the IRS, et cetera, et cetera. The people can read the rest of it at 13wmaz.com. So that being said, okay, so this is like her first, publicized action after the honeymoon phase. So Dave, like, if you want to, like, how do you feel just off the cuff without digging into it? Like, if this was your mayor and she was your employee, is this something that you would want to see her do? Or?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. There has been too much buddy system going on in our politics. One hand washes the other type shit. And yeah, I like that she laid the smack down and knocked his dick in the dirt.
I love that phrase. Nick, what's your first reaction to this?
Drain the swamp.
Drain the swamp. So
yeah, I think it's good. I hope she keeps catching people and putting them in their place. People are acting outside of their roles.
Well, this is kind of deja vu for us because we tried to record this previously, but it's like this is what I like is so often people get behind a candidate for a particular office and they is that psilocybin in that tea? No, just tea with a little honey. But people get behind a politician, and what they want to do is they want to, they push them into the office to see what they can do, right? Like, what can you do for us, right? But this is
You're
a
gonna
perfect,
test their limits, test their
yeah,
boundaries, see what they can get away with.
yeah. But it's like she gets into office, and the first thing she does is what somebody of my proclivity really wants, which she looks at the internal workings of the government around her and says, "You can't do this," right? Because that's what the Constitution basically is outlined is to limit what government can do. And it's like right out of the gates, that's what she's doing, right?
Yep, small government.
Like, you can't do that, dude. Now, I don't know who David Corbin is. He might be a good guy. He might not be a bad guy. I don't know.
It was one of the Covenus brothers, wasn't he? In Underworld.
Yeah, Corbin. I get that reference. But so I don't know if he's a good guy, bad guy, or whatever. All I know is that he was told to go and present a contract, and he comes back with a signed contract, right?
Mm.
Now, so the question becomes because we can't be biased and we can't just side with Team Larhonda because we support her. We have to be good, studious, patriots and really look into it, which we will. But it's like the first thing that this kind of popped up in my head was like, one is a question to ask: is David Corbin from the previous administration? Yes or
Yeah.
no? Yes. And the second question is this how City Hall has been expected to have run before Mama came in and got the bill, right? I mean, it almost seems like this was par for the course for David Corbin to just go and do this without any authority or to check the city charter, which is the issue. It's like check the city
Yep.
charter, right?
Yeah.
Because
Has this been actually done before? Do we know? Has he done this stuff before? This is normal course of action.
well, that's a good question, DePuma. And the thing, my answer would be this: is I don't know because there hasn't been transparency in government in Warner Robins before LaRonda.
Yep.
Who
So
knows?
this might be his new normal.
Yeah,
Yeah. It could either be him testing her, or it could be him acting how he normally does. We don't
Yep.
really know.
right. To me, it just seems like it was par for the course that some of these employees were just acting out of their written authority, which is in the rule book or the city charter, and they were accustomed to it. And it's kind of like the Bible. I forget which books of the Bible it is, but it's like the nation of Israel. They thought that they were following the books of the law so closely, right? Until somebody actually dusted a copy off, and they saw how far off from the law they actually were, and they were astounded. It's like, oh wow, you know, we thought this whole time because we assumed what the law said. But so this guy, maybe he was acting out of that kind of ignorance. And so I also think that it's neat that she didn't outright terminate him. I don't know if I would have had the same position of her, but it's like uh she didn't go to the nuclear option with this guy for stepping out of bounds. She kind of, you know, basically laid the law down, which is this is something government can't do, step outside of its chartered authority. Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and then the
I don't know.
question,
I probably would have torched him.
would you?
Yeah, probably.
It's scorched
And there's
earth.
probably
I'm
still
just so
time. I
fed
don't.
up. Go ahead, Nick.
Is that within her authority though to fire him on the spot? I think she's just able to suspend him, and then they probably have to have a meeting about it with the council. I'm not sure though.
Good question. Good question. And whenever, because I found out about this story as soon as I got back from Atlanta to Warner Robins and saw it like there's these things called newspapers that still exist. I saw it on the headlines. So I looked
What's
at it
that?
and I'm Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
The Daily Bugle. What is that? But I saw it and I'm like, okay, well, dude, I have to be intellectually honest myself because the news, every single news outlet is going to spin it one way or the other. We already know that. And they're going to spin it based off of their proclivities and views of politics, which is a left right thing. So I'm like, but I can't do that. And the three of us can't do that. We have to be honest and we have to go, was she within her authority? Did she go by the book? Did he? Right. So I did this really cool thing that you've never been able to do in Warner Robins before, which is I reached out to our mayor, right, about this specifically. And I was like, Madam Mayor, I just got back into town. Me and Nick apologized for not being at city council. We were at a different event. However, do you want to give you the opportunity to have, make a comment and point us to the direction of where you got the authority to do what you did? Now, this is even more cool, other than the fact that a mayor is responding to a nutball constituent like me, right? Is that she gave me exactly what I needed instantly. I mean, she didn't even hesitate. She didn't pass me off to a secretary or anything like that. She provided me with a link to the city charter of Warner Robins, which is basically our constitution, with the sections that she derives her authority from, and the sections where the city administrator stepped out of bounds, to see for myself, right? For us, the three of us, to do it. So, for everybody watching us on YouTube, obviously on Spotify, you won't be able to see it. We went ahead and pulled it up, and so Dave, I think, let's see. We're going to read in black and white. We're not going to look at party politics, left, right, or whatever. We're going to see we hired this woman to do a job. This is her manual. So under the city charter, under mayor, the sections that Madam Mayor sent me, go ahead and read that off if you have it like handy, Dave. And I'm going to mute out.
I'm at the city administrator one. I think
Are you?
on the mayor one.
All right, Nick. If you got the mayor, go ahead and pull up those
Yeah,
sections.
I've got the mayor. So the mayor, what she cited was the mayor, the section part 6. It says appoint and remove department directors and the city clerk subject to confirmation by the city council and consent with any personnel policies adopted by the council, except the city attorney, municipal court, judge, or judges, all of whom shall be appointed and removed by the city council. And part 8, she cited, exercise supervision and control over all departments of the city. And part 11, supervise and direct the official conduct of all city officers and the department directors appointed by the mayor. And then section C1, the mayor shall be the chief purchasing agent for the city, by whom all purchases or supplies and all contracts therefore shall be made. He or she shall sign checks and all vouchers for the payment of the same under such rules and regulations as the city council may adopt, not inconsistent with this subsection. The city council shall adopt rules for regulating purchases made by the city, and the mayor shall be governed thereby. In no event shall the mayor be authorized to spend in excess of $10,000 for the purchase of any item or use by the city without the prior consent of a majority of the duly qualified members of the council. And then section D, except for purposes of inquiry, members of the city council other than the mayor shall deal with the city's employees solely through the mayor and shall not give orders or directives to any such employees, either publicly or privately, except in emergency situations or in the absence of the mayor or the mayor pro tem acting on behalf of the mayor as provided in this charter.
Okey-dokey. So that's the rules. I mean, that's her instructions as our employee, as the CEO of the city of Warner Robins. So, Dave, I mean, you're not an attorney.
I think it's kind of funny that anything over $10,000, she has to get approval. But yet this guy is signing contracts for $347,000. Strange.
Yeah. So to you, Dave, when Nick was reading that off, you're not an attorney or anything. That was easy to understand, right? Like it's smooth English, yeah.
Sort of like black or white.
Sort of like black and white. It's almost like Madam Mayor read this and went execute because it's her job, right? Okay.
Absolutely.
So, and the reason I say that is because apparently, according to local news, there were 3 city council members. I don't know which ones they are, and of course, we do welcome them if they want to have a response to anything we say or issue a comment. They can do so. You can contact us at zenonthecar@gmail.com and be like, "Hey, man, we think we're all butthurt." But anyway, so from local news, they were like, "Well, 3 of the city council members were kind of upset that Madam Mayor didn't consult with them before she did what she did." Right. So I'm like, my question is, well, why?
Yeah, why?
Right? Like, what if it's right there in black and white in her job description? What do you need to check with the city council members for before you put somebody on suspension?
I think it goes back to the same thing as the other guy. That maybe that was his normal. Maybe that's their normal.
So, are you trying to
Mhm.
say that? Okay, so there, and we could find this out because I honestly don't know.
Maybe they all, whenever they made any decisions, maybe they all had a little circle jerk and decided everything before that.
Do you think that's how politics works, Dave?
I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of new to it.
Right. But these are good questions. So it's like, I guess it would be incumbent upon us to find out which 3 council members were not too happy, and if they come from the previous administration. That would be something.
Larry, Curly, and Mo.
All right. So, okay. Well, now this is all allegedly. So, did she have the power to do what she did in the event that the city administrator stepped outside of his authority? Well, thankfully, the city charter gives us the job description for the city administrator. Nick, you got that pulled up?
I got it pulled up.
Right. Shoot that out.
Yeah, right. City admin. E. The city administrator shall have no authority to bind the city unless specifically authorized to do so. Such authorization includes the power to sign contracts in the absence of the mayor and mayor pro tem, where time is of the essence. Okay, and then we got H. In case of accident, disaster, or other circumstances creating a public emergency, the city administrator may award contracts and make purchases for the purpose of meeting said emergency. However, he or she shall file promptly with the council a certificate showing such emergency and the necessity for such action, together with an itemized account of all ex, ex oh God,
Expenditures.
expenditures. The mayor and the city's. Can I do this over?
Start over.
Expendices.
Expenditures.
Expenditure. Jesus Christ. Expenditures.
Expenditure.
Use your words, Dave. Use your words.
You
Sound it
fucking
out.
Yankee. God damn you, Yankee.
Use your words.
All right. H. In case of accident, disaster, or other circumstance creating a public emergency, the city administrator may award contracts and make purchases for the purpose of meeting said emergency. However, he or she shall file promptly with the council a certificate showing such emergency and the necessity for such action, together with an itemized account of all expenditures. The mayor and the city attorney shall be consulted if possible before any such purchase is made.
So the question is did the guy act? I mean, he's clearly signed a contract with government.gov. I mean, or we wouldn't be reporting on it or anybody else. It's like, did he have the authority to do that? Well, evidently not.
We're in a state of emergency right now, aren't we?
Oh. Right. So that was my question too, man, because I was like, why would you, like, payroll's a pretty easy task, right, Nick?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty simple. My first question was like, well,
depends on who, Daniel.
It depends on who. It's a pretty simple task. But my question when I first saw it was like, well, Mr. Corbin, I don't know. Why would you outsource a job where I am positive that there's somebody within the city of Warner Robins who is like a single mother or a single father that could do it? Like, you could employ people within the city to help stimulate our economy.
You could probably get one of their kids to do it.
Right. So it's like, where does this mentality come from of outsourcing that job to begin with? I don't understand that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
And
So
it's a pretty hefty contract. I mean, I don't know how high expensive these contracts get, but that seems like a lot of money for that.
well, it's also a reflection of a knee-jerk reaction to contract with the federal government on stuff when it's just not necessary.
Yeah.
It's just not necessary to do that. I mean, when you're trying to keep an infrastructure that is honestly, I think that what we need to do is create infrastructures with our small town governments to stay insulated from the federal government and its bullshit. In my opinion, but that's just me. So, I mean, I liked it. I liked the story. I mean, we just read the King's English of the city charter, which is basically the Constitution. And I think that she flawlessly executed her duty as our employee. And I'm very pleased with the conduct of our new mayor so far on this, right? Because it's once again, I think that it sets a good groundwork for the rest of her administration of telling government what it cannot do.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's a good precedent.
Yeah. And if she keeps it up, the more you tell government what it can't do, you allow your true source of growth, which is the people, to step into those roles that government is going to screw up anyway, because that's all government does. Is when they get involved, they get screwed up. So she's with this action, she's made a statement that could chart the course for the rest of her administration, which is government can't do this because the people are better at it. How about we let them do that? So I applaud Madam Mayor for this move. What do you think, guys? What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's a good move. We'll see if he gets fired.
We'll see. I mean, and the other story. I mean, the reason we didn't want to record the first.
They have to consult the council first.
Oh,
the Illuminati. We have to.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's cool. So now I haven't dug too deep into this story, but I do want to bring it to people's attention, and the three of us can discuss it. But it was like we started to record about the first story, and then this other story came out, and now I don't know how connected it is to Madam Mayor or if she had anything to do with this. However, she did promise us transparency. So this story is one of transparency. Now, can we lay the responsibility of this at Madam Mayor's feet? I don't know just yet, but I'm eager to find out. And so the second story is beep, 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 beep. I'm also reading from 13 WMAZ. One Robin City employee charged with stealing over $45,000 from mortgage assistant program. So this was within like within at least a week and a half of this other incident. I see a headline that talks about a city employee who I'm assuming was not hired this past month, which indicates to me that this employee has been there for a while, but we're going to find out.
It said she's been doing it since 2018, I believe.
Okay. So let me do I'm bad with
numbers.
A
little bit.
Yeah.
It's about 5 years.
So how can your cash registers draw be short that many times since 2018 and not get caught?
Okay. I don't know. Let's read the story because we're good little journalists. Okay, so officers were told, this is from 13 WMAZ, links are in the Christ box below. I so ripped that off from the cat, but anyway, officers were told employee had been taking money used for mortgage assistant program since 2018. Warner Robins, Georgia. A Warner Robins City employee is charged with theft by taking after she allegedly stole more than $45,000 since 2018. According to a news release, the Director of Community and Economic Development called Warner Robins Police on February 2nd for an employee theft. So this is this month, right? Officers were told an employee had been taking money used for the mortgage assistant program since 2018. The release says the theft was discovered after an inquiry into the department's funds, and its totals over $45,000. After an investigation, the employee, 54-year-old Pamela Mullis, was charged with theft by taking. Mullis was arrested at the Houston County Sheriff's Office. The city issued the following statement, quote, "The city of Warner Robins is taking this matter seriously while working with local authorities during the ongoing investigation of recent theft in our Community and Economic Development Office. We want mortgage customers to be assured that accounts will reflect accurate balances. Should you have an account-specific questions, please call the Department of Community and Economic Development, yada, yada. Anyone with information can call Detectives Justin Clark and Paul Peck at 478-302-5380, which I encourage people to do. I don't believe in snitches, but this is screwed up. She stole from the community, allegedly. So, and that's the end of the story. So we don't too awful much know all the details, but here's what I see. I see after Madam Mayor's honeymoon and her meeting everyone that she needs to meet and doing her thing, that right away she's going to work and she's saying, government, you can't do this. And then this story drops. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think this is like, what do you think? Is this a result of her coming in? I mean, clearly this is an employee who was under the previous administration. And so is this more of Larhonda like showing us transparency, or is this just something that coincidentally happened? So Nick, what do you think?
Well, I don't believe in coincidences, but we don't have enough information to say either way whether it was, actually directly from Larhonda, but maybe it's just a result of the transparency. People are on their toes trying to catch things like this. But it's really hard to say with how little information we have right now.
Dave, what are your thoughts? Just first thoughts.
Well, if it was the director that ratted her out, so that would be the director of the office, the highest one in the office, that said an employee was stealing. I don't think it's, I that's all I think it is. It's just an individual, or unless, I mean, how do you do that since 2018 now? You
Right.
know what I mean? Unless somebody else is getting their pockets filled.
Well, at the very least, it shows negligence of the previous administration.
Mm-hmm. And they also said that there was an investigation, which means it was probably since before Larhonda even got in there.
Oh, clearly. I mean,
And we know how long investigations take.
yeah.
Yes.
So is this is a good thing? I mean,
Yeah.
And look, I believe in everybody needs due process of law. So the word allegedly is going to stay on this employee until a jury of her peers. But in the event that she actually did do this, it's like, wow. I try my best not to utilize any government assisted programs because I know that, that's dining with the devil. You need a long fork when you do that.
She
So,
definitely allegedly did a lot of dining with the devil.
sure. Yeah. It's like,
We go in Sizzler. We go in Sizzler.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, if she did do it, which, we'll see. It's like during COVID when people really needed that. Really?
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
where was the previous mayor while this was, I mean, that's my main question is where was the previous mayor? What, this was his watch.
He was at Sizzler.
He was no doubt, no doubt.
That's who she was dining with.
Yeah, so I haven't reached that.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I love that word. So I haven't reached out to Madam Mayor about this particular story, but I will be doing that. I will, and I'll get her take on it, get her comments, see if she wants to come on and talk about it. Which she's always welcome to come on here and do it, and we're pleased to offer her that because we know that all the local medias, they have their football team and party politics, and so they're going to spin it their way. And we have our point of view. I think she's doing a great job. I think this is awesome. I like seeing this. Like I don't like to use any of Trump's little tropes, but it's like this is draining the swamp. I could see the swamp of Warner Robins getting drained, man.
I'm going to start laughing when they start all singing too, because if they did know about this since 2018, well, once this one gets in front of the firing squad, that director had her hands in it, or whoever, allegedly.
I don't know, but I know that kind of money don't go missing without. I mean, a single individual it's what do they say? It's hard to keep it. It's two people can keep a secret if one's in the cemetery.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I know if my cash register was short one time, you'd get a write up.
Yeah, by like over $9 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited about this, and I like it, and this is episode 215, and I feel it's important, and we talked about this before we actually started recording because it's a serious matter. But you know, you guys both know that it's been 11 years since my dad passed away, which you know I talk about very openly and have a lot, you know, a lot of radio shows and podcasts, which is that's how I developed post-traumatic stress disorder. So my dad was a veteran of two foreign wars, and he had it. And we live in Wartown, for God's sakes. I mean, the name of our city is Wartown, which has the biggest logistical Air Force base in the world. And so all three of us are in the Cannabis Collective, right? Excuse me. And all of us have to deal with the after effects of trauma, and specifically with veterans. It's not always veterans, but specifically with veterans. And, you know, what what fueled a lot of my activism against the machine when I even started Zen in the Car was making the connection between trauma inflicted on whole generations of young men and women who sign up to do good things for their country, you know, who believe that they're protecting our ideals and our freedoms and our liberties, and then they get overseas and they see what they're actually being used to do by misguided, dysfunctional, screwed up government like we're seeing exposed here in Warner Robins. And it created a machine. We call it the military industrial complex, which the previous administration of Warner Robins was very much in favor of. We haven't talked to Madam Mayor about her opinions about the military industrial complex, but we know full well about the previous administrations here in Warner Robins and how they feel about the military industrial complex. And so the three of us, and you know this is true, Dave. You specifically, Nick's just coming into the caregiver work in the collective, but you're a veteran of it. You've been on the phones with veterans, probably from Warner Robins,
Yep.
who are on the brink of committing suicide or just destroying their life through addiction or self-destruction because of trauma, because of where they were sent and what they were told to do by what? Misguided, out of control, agenda driven government that is not looking out for the best interest of its constituents through the supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution. Because once you get away from that, the type of shit that you get is never ending wars, fruitless wars, policing the world, militarizing the police, traumatizing your peace officers to think that they are law enforcement officers who bring the stuff that's going on overseas to our streets to traumatize our citizens. And misguided government becomes a factory for fucking people up at home and abroad. And so we have to clean that up. The three, you know, people like Neil and the three of us and everybody else who's in the Cannabis Collective or who deals with trauma or anxiety or depression and who have heard the calling to patch up human beings who are in pain. So we're having to clean up the mess, kind of like MASH, you know, MASH, the show, you know, we're like the surgeons on the battlefield, right? 4077 or whatever. So that's why I think that it's very important that we continue to follow Larhonda, because she's setting a good example of how you put a stop to that kind of horse shit. Because from trauma and anxiety and fight or flight reactions, that's what causes crime in your inner cities. That's what causes poverty. That's what causes people to spiral out of their fucking minds and lose it, you know?
Yep.
And you guys know that that's true. So
100%.
So it's like, you know, I posted some stuff on Facebook celebrating 11 years of being recovered from that. So and I'm thankful that that happened to me, and I know that trauma, you know, the first thing is to admit that you have it, and I think the three of us have, you know, I respect both of you guys because both of you are men who have come to that place too, where it's like, hey, some shit ain't right in my attic, you know, and set the example for other people to take steps to fix it. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So it's like,
today's my father's birthday. He just passed away November 9th. 2 months, 5 days after my mother passed away. So Yeah,
See?
I've been dealing with a lot of stuff. I've been doing a lot of work myself, but yeah, we need to heal some trauma here.
Yeah.
I love helping our vets and cancer patients and stuff, man. It's been
And,
otherworldly.
and for me, I mean, I know it's probably the same for you, but it's therapy for me because
Yeah.
it's like I'm not alone. Cool. You know what I mean? Hey, let me tell you what worked for me, or let me tell you what I'm doing to heal. And then they give you ideas, and then it becomes this thing, you know? So it's good. And I guess it's on my mind, you know, and of course I have to be very discreet, but you, both of you know, behind the scenes, I'm always running and doing my best to try to be that person for somebody, and you guys are too, you know, for somebody who isn't as far along in healing as we are. Because you know we're pretty, if we're open enough to talk about it, we're in the process of healing, we're doing the work, but you know, but we catch people every day who are just now, their whole world is coming apart, and they're just now able to get the syllables out of their mouth, which is I need help.
Yeah.
I need help. Right?
That's the hardest part.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's the biggest part is saying it.
It is.
And it's like some people, you know, they go, well, you follow politics and you're so passionate about it. And it's like, that's such a, and I'm like, but this is why. You're not making the connection that this nation, shit, the world is in a complete, I mean, everybody's traumatized. And it's because we took our eyes off of government. Or, and when we do pay attention to government, and then people have the audacity to throw this fucking term woke around. Like, I'm paying attention to government now through my paradigm, so I'm woke. You know, it's like when I first heard this term woke, I'm thinking, oh, you became a Buddhist? Because that's what it means to me, to awaken from the dream. So at first I was like, okay, woke, that's pretty cool. Everybody's enlightened now. But then I figured out, and we all discussed it. I pieced it together. I'm like, that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about they're putting on another agenda of a fucking rose-colored glasses to look through, or red and blue glasses to look through, or left or right, or black or white, or some other stupid fucking division that keeps you from seeing the bigger picture. You know, woke, I guess what the woke whole thing is, just it's just another hat of madness for people to buy into and put their energy into it. But I don't want to go, you know what I mean? But this is what happens when, one, you don't understand the simplicity of what law is supposed to be, which is the protection of the individual, not what you can get from fucking government, not handouts, not what government, government can go fuck up and take their shit for you so you can live a better life. That's not what it's about. You know, if you think that's what government is about, you're not woke. Government is about, the only thing that government is there for is to be limited and to maintain and protect the rights of an individual. Even if 99.99% of the country wants something, the individual has their rights and property and everything protected. That's the role of government. If you have any other view of government other than that, you are not fucking woke. You're not. You're part of the problem. So,
Absolutely.
didn't mean to go Baptist on you, but it's like these things are connected. Bad people in government send good kids to war. Good kids come home. Good kids fucked up. Good kids go to VA. Good kids get put on in a big pharma human factory where they don't get help. They don't get natural medicine. They don't get guidance. They don't get techniques to deal with their trauma. They're just a fucking number. That's what happens when people get in government and say, well, government can do this. It's like, thank God for Larhonda Patrick right now, coming in and saying you can't do this. And if you do some shady shit, allegedly, on her watch, you're going to the detention center where criminals belong until you get due process of law with a jury of your peers. So, congratulations, Madam Mayor. I'm very pleased with your conduct so far. Fellas, what do you think?
Very nice.
Yeah. Hopefully there's more to come.
Yeah. And I have expressed this to her also. If the rest of the media outlets in around Warner Robins don't see it that way, who cares? We're constituents. We're telling you that was a good move, and keep this up. I want to see more news headlines about employees or law enforcement officers. I want to see more. I want to see more people in government who have been violating the rights of citizens and overstepping their authority. I want to see more of them called out because that's what I'm paying you for. So far you're earning the paycheck. Love you, Madam Mayor. Fellas, what do you got? Anything?
Hey, Daniel, are you feeling okay?
Feeling
Sure you
perfect.
want to record tonight?
I think we got it. I think we got it. But anyway, so I guess we'll wrap it up, man. I just want to let everybody know, and then I'll let you guys close us out. Nick, you can take us out. But guys, don't forget we're doing the Cannabis Scholarship. We're having out $20,000 in scholarships for somebody who does a TikTok video with the Cannabis jingle. Right? It's pretty easy. $20,000. We're also check all of our stuff in the Christ box because we're spreading out from just the Facebook to Minds and Gab and some of the other ones. What are some of the other ones we're on right now, Nick?
You named the two that I remember. I don't know. I like Gab.
Gab.
I think everybody should go to Gab.
Pornhub.
Gab.
That's a good one.
We're not on Pornhub yet because I'm just not that
Pornhub.
confident. Oh, by the way, we're going to get to stripper flipping soon. I got that to tell a test run of that story.
What even is that?
Sweet.
Stripper flipping is a new hobby that I have, which we'll talk about. But the cannabis event, I do want to talk about that for just a second. That we went up to, met a lot of cool people. Nick and I did. Nick got to see how well Zen and the Cause loved. We were very well treated by
Yeah.
Teresa Baker Yardborough. Shout out. Kirk Collins and Marcus Famous Barfield from Airport Vapes were cool enough to have us there to set up. And we met so many astounding and brilliant people. And Nick and I, Dave, you weren't there. You'll be at the next one. But Nick and I started, looking at the raw footage. What you saw the interview, the part of the interview we did with Nico, Nick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
what do you think?
Great.
Just God, he's a brilliant kid. Can't wait to get him on. But dude, we have, and I was wrong, guys. It looks like we have not just 12 guests that are wanting to be on the Zen in the Car podcast, which I'm so humbled by. But then I forgot about all of the tribal chiefs from the different tribes of the indigenous people who are also wanting to come on, like James Flaming Eagle Mooney of Oklahoma wants to be on our podcast, he's the founder of the Oklahoma Native American Church, guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's awesome.
It's pretty hip. So we got all that coming. And let's see, if you go to zeninthecar.com, actually on our sidebar, you'll see under Friends of Team Zen, we're adding new affiliates every day of these wonderful people and organizations that we've encountered. So we're incrementally adding those. So if you go to the site on the desktop, it'll be on the sidebar. If you're on your phone, scroll all the way down. Those images are clickable links, so you can go straight to their sites and see what they're all about and help support them because they're all kind of on the same mission we are. So other than that, I think we kind of all I really wanted to do was get over these two stories with Madam Mayor and really just praise her for it and tell her good job. This is what we need. Is a house cleaning. And so Dave, what do you think, man, rolling us out of here? And Nick, you close us out with episode 215. So Dave,
that's in what?
What'd you say?
That's in what? Rolling out. I thought Nick was rolling us out.
Your closing thoughts.
Who's that guy, that music artist? Fuck him. Neil Young.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, I already forgot his name.
What you got, Nick?
You couldn't pay me enough to fuck Neil Young.
Big pharma investors could. So that's all.
That's all, folks.
That's all, sure, folks. See you on the next time, man. Check us out on all the social medias. Give us our dopamine, and don't forget that if you subscribe to Zen in the Car on all of our thingies, you are entered into a 420 contest where we pick out one name from all of our subscribers list at the end of the month, and we give you $420 worth of medicine from the Cannabis Apothecary of your choice. So make sure you subscribe, because for every social media thing you subscribe to, that increases your odds to win. That's all we got, guys. See you next time. Later.
Nice.